Hey there, YouTube. I'm Jack, and this is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. Hope everybody had a good week, a nice Friday, and have some fun plans for the weekend. Not sure what I'm going to do here. We actually have rain predicted tomorrow, so I might just get some stuff done around the house. Today, I want to talk about 5 tips to start a raw food diet. Guys, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please go down and hit that subscribe button now. Then click on the little bell and check send notifications so you'll stay subscribed to the channel. I can come back and check out some more videos. I've had a whole wave of people on Instagram lately asking me, they're getting started on a raw food diet. Always exciting. And some of the just some tips. So I thought I would throw my top tips out there today. I've talked about all of these before. You know, when you do so many videos, you just kind of tend to make a lot of them over and say them in different ways. But there's value in saying things in different ways. I always go back to the yoga classes I was taking in Costa Rica. I'd get a different teacher, and sometimes I was working on a different, something, whatever I'm working on didn't work with me, and then I'd have that one teacher that would say the same thing just a different way and it would click. So that's neither here nor there. So my first tip when you're trying to start a raw food diet is clean up your environment. Make your environment as clean as possible. Stock up on the good stuff that you're going to be eating and get rid of the bad stuff. Because that's where we are lazy people. And that is what benefited me the most in the beginning. Although I was living in somewhat of a unique situation, not completely unique, but I had this apartment in San Jose, Costa Rica. And once I got everything out of the house, and just stocked it with good stuff, here's the thing. At nighttime, which as always tends to be the trouble time, I would have cravings every once in a while, but I'm like, if I wanted to go out and get food after I'd already eaten or whatever, I either had to call a taxi or I had to walk a good way. In other words, I had to put in work to go get my food, and I wasn't going to work to get my food. So clean up your environment. It's just, I'm not saying you'll never screw up or you'll never fail if you have a clean environment, but it's just more likely that if you have fruits and vegetables and handy snacks and different things around, that you will reach for the good stuff instinctively when you get hungry. So clean up that environment. If you live with other people, if it's not possible for you to have your environment exactly like you would like it to have, just partition your brain. The other food from your family, your roommates, whatever, that's not part of your plan, that's not your food. Act like they'll get really mad at you if you eat their food and act accordingly. My second tip is education. Educate yourself on this lifestyle and actually do the research yourself. Read different people, listen to different people that have conflicting views, and make up your mind. Stop picking out one person. Stop picking out your leader. Stop picking out, oh, this is my one source of information. There's little places to pick information all over the internet, lots of reading to do. And people just kind of, I think, shortchange themselves because a lot of times, if they don't agree with every single thing somebody says, they won't consume their information or they feel like they can't take anything from them. And here's another part of the education that I like to stress to raw people. Raw people want to jump into nothing but raw. So they're looking for books on the raw food diet, the raw vegan lifestyle. I highly advise getting some general plant-based, general vegan, nutritional information, not necessarily the raw. I take a lot of different stuff out there and I extrapolate it. I'm not 100% raw, just so anybody, sometimes people get all caught up on the percentages, but I get a lot, I'm mostly raw. So a lot of the stuff that I'll read, like for instance, Dr. Michael Greger, he wrote this book, How Not to Die. And he also wrote How Not to Diet. Well, Dr. Greger's work, there's a lot of good, solid nutrition in there. And a lot of stuff, I learned the basics from him, and I extrapolate that over to the raw part of it, just like the legumes. He's big on the legumes. And I've just okay, if I'm going to have the legumes, I want to sprout as many of them as possible. So I like Dr. Greger. I like Brenda Davis. Brenda Davis has 2 incredible books, Becoming Vegan and Becoming Raw. I suggest both of them because even though the Becoming Raw is really good, the Becoming Vegan just has really ABCs of plant-based nutrition. So educate yourself on this lifestyle, but really educate yourself instead of just, latching on to one way, one person, one style. Number three, you have to eat enough food. And you probably have to, when you think you've eaten enough food, you have to eat more food. Because a lot of the stuff you're going to be eating now is not very calorically dense. It's a totally different ball game. You're going to have to kind of reset your brain and your stomach. And it's going to take you a while before you're going to trust that. Because you'll fill up, you have to eat a lot of fruits and vegetables. And one thing I've said on here before when I'm talking about losing weight is the cleaner you eat, the more you can eat. And that's what I'm saying. If you it's going to take you a little while to get that. Just trust me on that. But you always need to be eating on this lifestyle. And when I say that, no, let me backstep a little bit, because I've had a few people before say, "Well, you've always got to be eating." No, but you just have to be aware of the volume of food you're taking in. When I first got on this lifestyle, I was by no means trying to restrict myself, but I just wasn't aware of that, and I lost a ton of weight because it wasn't like I say, I wasn't restricting myself and saying, "Oh, I better not eat," but I didn't know the right types of foods, combinations, different things like that. So you've got to eat enough food, and you've got to find stuff that you really like, recipes. That's another thing I would suggest. Like everybody out there, buy yourself one recipe book. I mean, sometimes I'm talking about a book or whatever, and people are like, "Well, that's expensive." Well, you know what? And I'm not saying you have to, there's other ways to get the information, but I am going to say if you can't buy 2 or 3 books on a lifestyle that, might change your life, totally helps your health, if you can't afford to buy 2 or 3 books, you're probably going to have a hard time affording to do a fully raw lifestyle. Because in the big picture of things, what's a book? You pick up a book, $10, $12, $15. And if you're looking at it, something you're going to, like a recipe book, for instance, something you're going to use over and over and over again. I mean, I think you can consider that a good value. So recipes, just invest, get one recipe book from your favorite creator, look around a little bit. My taste might be different than yours. I love Raw Food Romance's recipes. I also love Chris Kendall's recipes. Miss Naturally Ashley, who has created a lot of the Woodstock Fruit Festival recipes with Chris Kendall. In other words, there's a lot of people out there, so you just pick the one that you like. The recipes resonate with you. But the point being is, you need tasty food. You're not going to get by on just especially in the beginning, you're not going to just eat some fruit and some lettuce and this and that. You need tasty combinations, to kind of give you that thrill that you got from some of the stuff you were eating that's not so good for you, and just to keep you excited about this lifestyle, because there's different international food, different countries of food. You can veganize, you can make plant-based almost anything. They've got burgers out there now. There's raw burgers, there's cooked burgers, there's a little bit of everything. So just find recipes, but find things that you really enjoy eating, because that's the one thing that's going to make this lifestyle work. You're not going to be disciplined enough to just eat things that are good for you. You're not going to do it all just because it's good for you. If it's not apparent when I do those what I eat in a day videos, I thoroughly enjoy everything I eat, even down to those kind of gnarly looking green smoothies. I really enjoy my food. Not saying that what I enjoy would necessarily be the things you enjoy, but find what you enjoy, and that is going to go a long way. And support. Reach out for support, and not necessarily going to somebody that's an expert. There's a lot of support to be had amongst new people. There's Facebook groups out there of all different subjects, all different approaches to a plant-based diet, a raw food diet. But something that that I've always thought would be a good idea, but I don't see people do. It's almost like you're having a meeting online. It's a Facebook group, but anybody can create a Facebook group. So you go online. And I think there's value in smaller numbers. Say and I'm not saying don't go to other groups. Let's say you're stepping into this raw food diet, whole food plant-based diet, and now you're in some Facebook groups to learn about that type stuff. That's good. just take all that information with a grain of salt. Now, as you're in those groups, other people will be commenting, sharing stuff, asking questions. Find other people that are at a similar level to you. Reach out to them, talk to them in the comments. If you find people that you really resonate out with, make yourself a small group of 4 or 5 people and become accountable to each other. It's almost like having a meeting, like an OA meeting, an AA meeting, or whatever. Obviously not, if you're all beginners, you don't have a ton of knowledge to be teaching each other, but you can be sharing what each other is learning. You can give each other support. Like if people are kind of, getting a little weak and they want to fall off their plan or whatever, you can encourage. But I think support is where a lot of people fall off on this lifestyle, because once you get into the groups and you start talking to a lot of vegans, raw vegans, even more so for raw vegans because there's less of us, there's just not that much community out there. And a lot of times, a lot of people that are watching my video right now, me included, are the only people in our lives eating like this. So it can feel a little isolating sometimes. So if you need that support, get that support online. Get that support wherever you can get it. But, any trick you can do. Don't think of necessarily big ideas, and you've got to learn the science behind each and every bite of what you're eating. Just kind of, do the best you can, learn as much as you can, experiment and see how things work for you, and you'll be okay. It's not that hard to follow this lifestyle if you put a little bit of thought into it and do it the right way. But anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed this one today. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up, and I'll probably do another video for you this weekend. Peace.